Hi, welcome to 9.9 Comics with Chris and Kyle.
I'm gone.
And I'm Chris in my fancy new Aquaman shirt.
I didn't even sound like Kyle. So today we are going to be talking about comics released November 14th, 2018. We are going to start off this week with Image Comics and the release of Bitterroot #1, written by David Walker and Chuck Brown, and art and cover art by Sanford Greene. In the 1920s, the Harlem Renaissance is in full swing, and the only Chandray family can save New York and the world from the supernatural forces threatening to destroy humanity. But the once great family of monster hunters has been torn apart by the tragedies and conflicting moral codes. The Sanjari, I don't know how to, what language is that? It's a name. Sangaree family. Sanjari family must heal the wounds of the past and move beyond their differences, or sit back and watch a force of unimaginable evil ravage the human race. David F. Walker and Sanford Greene, the creative team of Power Man and Iron Fist, along with indie veteran Chuck Brown from Trenchcoats, Cigarettes, and Shotguns, bring you 24 action-packed pages of monsters, mayhem, and family dysfunction in a brand new ongoing series. This is a Diamond Gem of the Month, guys.
Bitterroot, I saw it in the Diamond catalog a few months back, and it was really intriguing.
So, moving on, also out of Image Comics, we have a comic. It's a one-shot called Elizabeth Dumn. D-U-M-N.
No, Elizabeth Dumb, like D-U-M-B.
Against...
the N is silent.
Against the evils in suits. This is written art and cover art by Arabson. Just Arabson.
That's it, one
like
name,
Cher.
Arabson.
Elizabeth Dumb is a strong, rebellious girl who's determined to make her own way. Good thing, too, because her father long ago promised her to the devil, and he's come to claim what's his. This is a story that will haunt you long after you've turned the final page. Part horror adventure, part surreal dreamscape, this original graphic novella features the amazing artwork of Brazilian sensation Arabson, with translation by Eisner Award-winning James Robinson. So,
this is a 64-page book. It's a one-shot, like Arabson's name. Just
right?
One shot.
Yes. I like the way you do things.
And then, moving on, out of Titan Comics, we have, based off of the hit video game, Life is Strange #1, written by Emma Vieceli, and art and cover art by Claudia Leonardi. The sequel story fans thought they would never see. This all-new emotional roller coaster stars fan favorites Max and Chloe, and picks up after the critically acclaimed game. Torn between universes, can a splintered Max reckon with the sins of Arcadia past? And is there any future for Max and Chloe when time itself is against them? And this is back order, not stocked, and it is also a featured item from Diamond. So
it is the only comic that is currently, as of filming this, back order, not stocked.
It's a video game comic. What? But those are three big things. It's back order, not stocked. It's featured item, and it's already has previous runs with video games. It's actually fairly successful.
Huge following. Good stuff.
Then moving on to Valiant Entertainment, we have Bloodshot Rising Spirit #1. This is written by Lonnie Nadler and various other writers, and art by Ken Lashley. Cover art by Philippe Massafara. New ongoing series, Mufasa. Discover the true origin of Valiant's most unrelenting hero. Before a weapon is deployed in battle, it must be designed, refined, field-tested. Bloodshot was no exception. In the early days of the private military contractor Project Rising Spirit, the nanite-infused super soldier who would one day become their most violent and valuable asset was a resource to be mined. And it was up to one enterprising employee to ensure he did what he was told. But memory is a tricky thing, and the man Bloodshot used to be won't let go of his past so easily. Ooh, so a new Bloodshot run. I'm pretty excited about it. You're looking at a Bloodshot fan right here.
Yep. And more video game comics.
Yeah, and coming up, more video game comics with Dark Horse Comics' release of God of War, #1 of 4. That rhymes, I like that. Written by Chris Robertson, art by Tony Parker and Dan Jackson, and cover art by E.M. Geist. I don't know. Choose one.
I got the gist of it.
Yeah, we got the gist of it. Kratos, god of war, has returned. His war on the gods of Olympus long past, Kratos builds a new life for himself in the remote Norse wilds. Seeking to put the rage that defined most of his life behind him, Kratos inadvertently sparks a feud with a mysterious cult of berserkers after attempting to save a stranger being mauled by a monstrous bear. But for the former ghost of Sparta, no good deed goes unpunished. So this is going to be a little side story for Kratos over here.
Yeah, like a prequel to the game, God of War 4. Good deal.
Yeah, 1 of 4. Yeah, so a lot of 4s and wars.
War?
Wars.
A lot of 4 in God of War.
Wars. And then out of Dark Horse Comic, we have William Gibson Alien 3, #1. Written by Johnny Christmas and William Gibson, art by Johnny Christmas and Tamra Bonvillain. Bonvillain, and cover art by Johnny Christmas. And now this is basically Alien 3 written closer to the first draft of the script than it was actually filmed. So it's a more truer to the base.
It's based off of the original screenplay, not the actual movie.
Right. So you're gonna be looking forward to, especially for you Alien fans, seeing Alien 3 in a better light, in a new light, and it should be pretty interesting. And I mean, you all know the premise of Alien, so we're not going to get too deep into that. But this is a Diamond Gem of the Month, guys. So, hey. And moving on, out of Boom Studios, we have Firefly, #1. Famous Firefly, written by Greg Pak, art by Dan McCade, I almost said Dan Aykroyd, and cover art by Lee Garbett. Boom Studios, along with visionary writer and director Joss Whedon from Butterfly,
the Vampire.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer and the Avengers, presents an all-new era of the pop culture phenomenon Firefly. As one of the most demanded stories in the franchise's history is revealed for the first time, Captain Malcolm Mal Reynolds, a defeated soldier who opposed the unification of the planets by the totalitarian government Alliance, will undertake any job, legal or not, to stay afloat and keep his crew fed. Find out how his story began as Boom Studios delves into Mal's past, how he met his first mate Zoe, and the real truth about the War of Unification. So, this is also a Diamond Gem of the Month, and I mean, come on, it's Firefly. If you haven't heard of Firefly, clean your ears.
What? Just kidding. Moving on from there, I'm going to be getting into the big two with DC Comics' Catwoman #5, specifically for the Stanley Lau variant. Like, let's be realistic here. Art Germ, this cover's phenomenal. Batman Unraveling. Art Germ just keeps putting out great covers. So I really don't need to go into too much detail about that. It's obviously about the cover.
Duh.
Detective Comics #992 variant, specifically the Gabriel Dell'Otto cover.
Correct.
Because once again, Detective Comics isn't doing like super hot, but it's a Dell'Otto cover, and Dell'Otto's on fire. So.
Yeah, after Batwoman killed Clayface.
Why are we spoiling this?
That's old. That's
that old.
It's months old. If you care about Detective Comics and you don't know Batwoman killed Clayface, leave.
Moving on from there, we have a new #1 out of DC, Electric Warriors, written by Steve Orlando and art and cover art by Travel Foreman. I like that name.
Okay.
A new tale of the future DC universe set in a previously unexplored timeline, the Cosmic Dark Age. Years after the Great Disaster, the Earth has started to rebuild and rejoin the Universal Coalition. In order to prevent a galactic war, different worlds throughout the known cosmos have created a new system of competitive combat to give each participating planet their own voice. And it sounds like G Gundam.
Yeah, it does.
In the intergalactic struggle, each world has one diplomatic gladiator
my God, yeah.
chosen to possess the electric seed and fight for their homeland as the Electric Warrior. Each fighter forsakes their personal life in the name of peace. So what happens when Earth can't choose a single combatant and sends two instead? The Bruiser Warcry represents the humans of Earth, while Deep Dweller, a shapeshifter from the Octopus tribe, represents the Animal Kingdom. Can they maintain one common goal, or will they tear Earth's tenuous coexistence to shred and destroy the rest of the universe with it? Oh, and Warcry also has a powerful relic from Earth's past, Superman's cape.
Oh, and they're all in mechs.
Moving on from there into Marvel Cosmics, we have the final issue of Cosmic Ghost Rider by Donny Cates and cover art Jeff Shaw and inside art by Dylan Burnett. This is a big deal because it is the end of a series. It does have an awesome retailer incentive variant,
Right.
like 1 in 50, I believe, or something. 1 in 25, 1 in 50. So we can't put those on hold. So make sure to come in as soon as you can and pick that up, or you're gonna miss out. Moving on from there into Venom 8, once again, specifically more for the cover. Everybody knows about Venom now. We've been beating you over the head with it for months now.
Right.
This specifically is for the J. Scott Campbell Uncanny X-Men variant cover, which looks phenomenal, and I'm not the biggest X-Men fan. Moving on from there...
Speaking of X-Men.
Yeah, but moving on from there, we also have Black Order #1 out of Marvel Comics. From the Infinity War into their own limited series. This is a 1 in 5 written by... This is a 5 run. This is #1 written by Derek Landy, art and cover art by Philip Tan. They are the 5 Dreadlords, the Cull Obsidian, Thanos' most feared warriors and disciples, ruthless villains to a 1. The Black Order has been dispatched by the Grand Master to destabilize a burgeoning empire, and along the way they will come to realize that as big and as bad as they are, there is always someone bigger and badder. The bombastic writing style of novelist Derek Landy, skullduggery pleasant, and the electrifying artwork of Philip Tan combined for an absolutely unhinged supervillain adventure.
Bombastic. That's very.
Rated T for T.
You know, it's not teen for teen. The 9.9 no-brainer.
It's rated T plus
I
for
guess.
older teens.
I guess it's the 9.9 no-brainer.
It's Uncanny X-Men #1, written by Ed Brisson and various other artists, or writers. Art by Mohammed A. Asrar and various others, and cover art by Lanil Francis Yu.
Me?
So, yeah, sure. The Children of the Atom are back. New ongoing series kicking off with a 10-part weekly epic. The flagship X-Men series that started it all is back and better than ever. Starting with a mysterious and tragic disappearance, the X-Men are drawn into what might be their final adventure. X-fan favorite writers Ed Brisson from Extermination, Matthew Rosenberg from Phoenix Resurrection, and Kelly Thompson from Mr. and Mrs. X, and all-star artist Mahmoud Asrar from X-Men Red, R.B. Silva from X-Men Blue, Yildre Sinar from Weapon X, and Pere Perez from Rogue and Gambit join forces to bring you X-Men Disassembled. So there's a few reasons why this is a huge deal. It is hopefully going to revamp interest in X-Men with a bringing back of the original title and hopefully the original writing that came with it. It is a huge 72-page book. It's one of the largest single-issue comic books I've ever seen, and it's only $8. 72 pages is about half of a graphic novel,
Right.
just in case you were wondering. For $8, it's got plenty of variant covers. We should be getting a few of them in. And it is Marvel's big deal. They've been pushing it, a lot of events for it and everything. So it's a huge deal.
Hopefully, you can put X-Men back on the map.
Hopefully,
after
because
of just like
X-Men's
15-year lull.
X-Men's been on a roller coaster ride lately with slight spikes in readership and sales, but for the most part, they overproduced X-Men comics and flooded the market,
Right.
and nobody wanted to deal with it. So hopefully this can help sort of bring things down. That's what we thought Extermination might do, and Extermination did fairly well for an X-Men book. And quite frankly, this cover art's phenomenal. The characters that it looks like it's going to be featuring from the cover art are all really interesting characters. Bishop, Psylocke, Nightcrawler, Storm, X-23. They're all a lot of fan favorite characters, so hopefully it lives up to the hype. So we're super excited for it.
Right.
For a boost to X-Men books. That being said, downsides, just things to be aware of is, like we had talked about, X-Men as a whole hasn't done very
Correct.
well, and that's one of the key things. Just like Iron Man comics weren't doing very
Correct.
well until the revamped Iron Man with Tony Stark came back out. Thor comics weren't doing too hot until Thor came back out.
Correct.
Etc., etc. So we're hoping Marvel's keeping on that track with revamping their series and bringing them back to the forefront. And we
I think the biggest speed bump this comic is going to have
Is the price tag.
Well, I don't even think the price tag, because you for the amount of pages you're getting, it's a really good deal.
It's a deal, but
they're gonna have to hold your interest for 72 pages. So that's that was.
I think that's fair. We
were talking about well, it's you can't compare them at all, but
no, Marvel Legacy.
Marvel Legacy, which overall was a good book if you finished it, but I got bored on page 5 and I still haven't finished it. So it's if you can as long as you can get over that speed hump of the many pages, it should knock it right out of the park, because it does look like it has all the good that's been going on, all the good writers that have been doing good on X-Men from the past year.
I mean, X-Men Red was, out of their long turning runs, one of the best selling ones.
Right. I've got high hopes for it. Especially for an X-Men book, so that's saying something.
Yeah,
I
love like '90s X-Men,
yeah.
But that doesn't mean I want to collect X-Men comics. It's not a good field to get into.
Being '90s babies, we do have bad taste in our mouth from that era, so
yeah,
it was really hard to come to this conclusion.
I love '90s X-Men. '90s Cyclops was the winningest thing in the world.
I love the cartoon.
And I loved it. Yeah, well, that's why.
Yeah,
but this is a big deal. Make sure to get your copy. It is one of the largest single-issue comic books that I've ever seen. 72 pages is huge.
Right.
Like, most Image comics are 20 to 30 pages. Most single-issue comics are 20 to 30 pages tops. This is double, almost triple. Almost triple that for certain things.
For double the price. Technically it's like a buy two, get one free sort of deal.
Yeah.
So moving on from the 9.9 no-brainer, we're getting into the honorable mentions, starting off with Marvel, and they're with Fantastic Four #3 and Infinity Warps #1. Then out of Image Comics, we have Gideon Falls #8, Infinite Dark #2, Juke Joint #2, Murder Falcon #2, and Oblivion Song #9. Now I'm gonna have to do that in post, dang it. And out of DC Comics, we have Suicide Squad #48 for specifically the Matina variant.
And
Murder Falcon.
No, I'm gonna do you too. Don't worry about it. I got you. You didn't get one. So yeah. That's it for this week, guys. Remember to like and subscribe, comment, all that stuff.
Share it with your friends. Force them to subscribe.
Share it with your friends.
By force them to subscribe, I mean wait till you're hanging out, you're in their room, they step away from the computer, you go on, you subscribe. That's all you have to do.
Yeah. Steal their computers and then
don't steal them.
Take them home so they don't have them anymore, and subscribe, and then put their computer to force watch our videos 24/7.
That's a bit excessive. Don't do that. We are not encouraging criminal behavior.
We are totally. I'm kidding. So anyway, thanks, guys.
Have a good night.
Murder Falcon.